Protection, a tactic or move that has existed since the dawn of man. From its humble origins of cupping one's own nuts under the threat of a cheeky kick, to modern times where one's partner insists on it, or your night and the drinks you paid for her and her goddamn annoying friends will be wasted, protection has and always will be a crucial priority. But this video series will focus on protection of a different kind. I will show you one example where protecting the most important units in your army, sometimes even at the cost of them not affecting the battle until the very end, pays off handsomely. This video could also be considered as a counter to the previous tactics video of coordination. The first example is taken from one of the most entertaining fights in the Unit Band EX tournament. The second match between Johannes VB and Sunsen Diary. Sunsen has taken Rome, and the biggest weakness of Rome lies in its terribly ineffective general unit. Both the Legatus and the General's Bodyguard unit are 30-men units and are basically susceptible to everything. Especially everything that the nomadic steppe warriors that Johannes is fielding in the Masagatai. From deadly horse archers to powerful shock cavalry, everything that Johannes has in his arsenal can cut down the head of the Roman army in a matter of seconds. Doing so would send the already ill-equipped Romans who don't have access to triarii into a panic and mass rout, especially since they will be taking severe casualties from cavalry pummeling into them throughout the course of this fight. Fast forward to the end stages of this marathon slugfest. The Romans have fought bravely, but the nomads still have good shock cavalry and horse archers with critical amounts of ammunition left. Masagatai has surrounded the Roman army, but as they are quite depleted themselves, there are gaps in the circle surrounding this Roman army. The Roman general hangs on for dear life, and Sunsen has already done well in keeping him alive so far. But what he does now is nothing short of brilliant. Right after the Masagatai come in for a coordinated charge, Sunsen sees the single weak spot in the nomad circle, attacks and kills some of the horse archers and runs. Leaving his soldiers to fend for themselves, he orders his general to exit the wall of damaged soldiers and dented armor that previously surrounded him and his general and run for dear life. His general has been stationary for most of the battle in the center of his army, so the horses are fresh and he will be quicker than the nomads who have been fighting all day, and critically puts some distance between himself and the crown jewels of the Masagatai, the two Saka noble armored lancers that are still fighting in the Roman sword box. Now, if the general was left in the box, the few Romans who were crumbling already under the weight of the shock cavalry would have not been able to protect him for more than a couple of seconds. A very risky move on paper, but probably the safest move that he could have done, protecting his general that way. Johannes, smelling blood in the air, turns away from the Roman army and begins chasing the general with his cavalry, giving up some crucial rear charges instead, but his cavalry is not going to be able to catch them. Eventually, Sunsen draws out all the remaining enemy cavalry away from the few Romans left before making a long, convoluted U-turn back to the center of his army, tiring out the nomads even more in the process and critically keeping his general alive, a move that turned the game around and eventually won him the game. Protecting your general is always #1 priority. This priority is given even more importance if your general is in a garbage unit. But by utilizing the one advantage the general had in its fresh horses, Sunsen not only protected his most important unit by almost counterintuitively running them away from reinforcements, he changed the course of the game by drawing away enemy units and thus protecting the rest of his army as well. That's it for this episode of the Total War Tactics series. I will be posting another version of the protection tactic that focuses on a different unit that is much bigger and much deadlier, but requires even more babysitting very soon. So until then guys, peace.